They went at it. Let's take a look. Rudy Gobert and the Jazz were hosting Myles Turner and the Pacers. They got their game faces on. This is the third quarter. The Pacers are up. He blocks Gobert at the rim, but Gobert thought he was fouled. Here you see him yelling at the ref. He received a technical for that play. So then in the fourth quarter, things getting chippy. Another block right here.
Nice.
But this time, look, after the block, Turner and Gobert, they start mixing it up with each other. They have to be separated. And as Turner and Gobert get tangled, oh my gosh.
The little grabby.
It appears Gobert maybe dragged him.
So sweet.
And then you see that Turner taking exception with that. Here's your huggy. But look while they're hug wrestling, Joe Ingles, and he used to be really upset to piss off Joe Ingles, makes contact with the referee. So Ingles will be ejected. You can't do that. So then later in the scuffle, look, Donovan Mitchell also makes contact with the referee. So Mitchell was ejected. Turner and Gobert were ejected, but the Pacers win.
We know we ain't gonna fight. So, guys need to stop acting like they're gonna fight because they know that in 2 seconds there's gonna be 20 security guards in between us, and they know that, okay, it's cool for the cameras, but they know we aren't gonna fight. Guys that are not about that life need to stop acting like they are, because at some point, I might have to stand up for myself.
Everybody saw what happened. I thought it was a dirty play. There was I'm not sure which ref. Somebody saw. I thought all that could have been prevented. But that's besides the point. He pulled me down. I wasn't about to take that. So, got to roll.
Myles is one of the guys that's leading the charge. Guys try him, and he's the best shot blocker in the world. He's going against the second best shot blocker tonight. And, I think Myles showed what he was tonight.
We've had a lot of fight night talk on this show this week. And Perk, after we talked about the Morris and Jokic debacle, we noted that you've had one or two dust-ups over the course of his career. But we just heard Rudy Gobert say, we knew we weren't going to fight. What did you think?
He probably wasn't going to fight, but look, I will say this. That was just funny. 2 7-footers just doing a little huggy hug. It was cute. It was cute. Look, it wasn't nothing. It was a little scuffle, a little tangle up. That's what happened when you're in the trenches. I actually love this type of thing. Look, no punches was thrown. Guys are competing. You got two of the best shot blockers, two bigs getting physical. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that.
What do you think?
It was funny. There's nobody that watched that didn't laugh at that.
Perk is still laughing.
Yeah, but even Rudy says it. He goes, no one's going to fight anybody. No one's going to throw punches. He's like, look, at the end of the day, this was two guys that got a little bit heated. They decided to do a little do-si-do, a little, four-square dance together in Utah, have a good time. It just... And if you know Rudy Gobert and you know Myles Turner, which I do, both of these guys are great human beings, great people. They're not these guys that you think are going to start some stuff. They got a little overheated.
Overheated. All right, that's fine. Well, as our friend Tim McMahon said, he said, this qualifies as a kerfuffle. It didn't quite raise to the level of a brouhaha. But, Brian, what's the history between
them?
Yeah,
I think this was actually personal for Myles Turner. Because Myles has a thing with Rudy Gobert, really going back to the 2019 World Cup in China. The French, slapped the Americans over in China. I was at the game. Gobert was awesome that game. Myles Turner was the starting center for the U.S. And that's always given Myles an edge when they've seen each other since. Plus, Myles thinks he should be like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's been one of the best shot blockers in the league for a while. He sees Gobert with a $200 million contract, says, I'm not that much different of a player. So he gets up when he sees Gobert. And so when he felt like Gobert was grabbing at him, he was more prone to go back at him.
So we mentioned, though, that there were 4 ejections in this game. Yeah. 2 of them came for making contact with referees in Mitchell and Joe Ingles. Should we expect to see any discipline from the league?
So I don't think for the 2 big guys, but you got to watch that contact with the officials. Now, so Ingles comes flying in there and slams an official. Now, after the game, the officials on the pool report mentioned that they felt that was not intentional contact. He didn't come running in there meaning to hit the ref, but NBA officials and the league office are very protective of the refs. They don't like hands on officials. So if there's any danger, and I don't necessarily think there is, if there's any danger, that would be where I think the discipline would come.
Well, because we can't just have fights on the court. I know you both have been very clear. duke it out, hug it out, whatever it is you do on the court, but kind of do it on the court. But of course, it has to spill over to Twitter. So the Pacers Twitter took one last shot at Gobert after the game. It would be fun to see these two in the Defensive Player of the Year race down the stretch. So one more little shot with a little W.
I think we had a chance to win that year because he was that concerned about COVID-19. And at the time, he had a little baby on the way and did not want to bring that home to his baby or his pregnant partner. And now you do everything right and still end up with a breakthrough.
And that's the sentiment from checking in with guys on the team that I've gotten to, is that we feel like we've done everything right. So he is experiencing symptoms. We wish him a speedy recovery. And Embiid joins Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, and Isaiah Joe as the Sixers in COVID protocols. So you mentioned it. They've been rolling. How does Philadelphia plan to move forward once again now?
Well, this is a good reason they went out and got Andre Drummond. I mean, this is going to help here as they try to move through this stretch. But this is a real setback for them. I mean, they're 8-2, leading in the Eastern Conference. They had a huge win in Chicago the other day, celebration in that locker room. And this is, I don't think many of us thought they would go on a roll like this after losing Tobias Harris and Thybulle. But they've won a couple of big games here. Joel Embiid hit that dagger against the Bulls to win that game. And here you go. It's just been one thing after another. He's had the knee injury that he's been working through and playing through. He was going to sit this game no matter what for rest, but now, obviously, with the positive test, it's going to be out a little while.
And hopefully he feels better soon. Much more on the 76ers coming up later in the show. But first, Ramona, let's go coast to coast around the NBA, starting with the Nets, who after starting 2 and 3 have now won 5 in a row. Kevin Durant is leading the league in scoring over 28 points per game.
Look how that happens.
I know. I mean, what do you think? What do you think of them so far?
Oh, I think he's the MVP favorite at this point. That was my preseason pick for MVP, and he's playing right up to it again.
So we're going to move over to the Celtics, who got some bad news on Monday that Jaylen Brown will miss 1 to 2 weeks with a right hamstring strain. Kendrick Perkins, how concerned are you with the Celtics having no Jaylen Brown?
I'm very concerned. Look, the leading scorer on the team, he's been very consistent. I'm very scared for the Celtics.
Well, let's give some love to 2 surprise teams in the East, the Wizards and the Cavaliers. They just keep winning. Washington is now 7 and 3, while Cleveland has won 4 in a row. But it was announced earlier today that Colin Sexton has a torn meniscus, and there's no timetable for his return. But senior NBA insider reported that he said that he's expected to have an extended absence. And in the 2 LA teams, they're heading in kind of in different directions. The Lakers are without LeBron and lost by 15 in Portland, while the Clippers, they got Serge Ibaka back, and they closed out the Hornets on a 27-4 run to win their 4th straight game after starting 1 and 4. So now let's take a look and listen to the weekend soundtrack.
Luka can walk the ball all the way down and take the final shot. Here he comes.
It's Luka against Josh Richardson. Luka's 3 for win. Luka Magic on a Saturday night.
Love it. For 1 second, I just stood there. I didn't realize I made it.
But he's got a little bit of time. Launches. Body ball.
Rubio.
Fakes. Fires. Puts it in again.
Ricky Rubio. He'd a go.
Nuggets hanging on to a 1-point lead. Tate inside.
We're trying to be a good defensive team. I just happen to be there,
And Anthony's ahead of the pack. He'll throw this one with the left. Oh, Anthony putting on a show.
I've been looking forward to one of these in person for quite some time, right?
Facts. Shout out to the team, man. Shout out to RJ. Shout out to Dell. Shout out to Mo Bamba. Shout out to my whole team, man. We had to go get that dub, man. Shout out to the Magic, man. Let's go.
Man, I love news. I love journalism. I love facts. So, Cole Anthony?
Yeah.
I mean,
that guy can play.
That might be my winner of the weekend. But, Perk, who was yours?
It's the Washington Wizards.
All right.
And shout out to Bradley Beal, right? I was one of those guys for staying put, saying that he should leave, but no, he's holding it down, being the leader on and off the court, putting up big numbers. Shout out to Kyle Kuzma, who's coming in and showing people that, hey, I could get it done without LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Shout out to Montrezl Harrell, whose season didn't end well last night, who's averaging 18 and 9 off the bench. The Wizards play great team basketball, and they had two huge wins over the weekend, beating the Memphis Grizzlies and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep.
So shout out to the Wizards.
Big game, big game.
All right, I'm going to go with the Cavs on this one
All right.
because they also have two big wins. And look, the Wizards are a great pick, but the Cavs have wins over Toronto and the Knicks this past weekend. And I made this pick